Hello and welcome to the show. So today's challenge is going to be some more NASCAR in the rain. I got a lobby together of 16 people and we're going to do 3 different races. Unfortunately, for whatever reason, and I am not entirely sure why, whenever I try to go to load the replays up from these races, it just crashes my PlayStation. I have no idea why. It's only on the NASCAR races. All the other races we did were fine, and everything I've done since then has worked without any problem. Just on these races, it crashed, and I don't know why. Luckily, I did record from my onboard footage for this race, if you like. This is very, very limited, so I can only show you what was going on around me at the time. Not ideal at all, but since there was still some good stuff going on, I wanted to at least try and make a video out of this. Yeah, I'm sorry, the replays all crashed and burned. So as you could imagine, it is absolutely mental, pretty much. The first race was at the Brands Hatch full circuit, and sure enough, if you look in the bottom left-hand side of the screen, for some reason my car had decided to be on racing hard. I checked before I made this lobby. I checked my NASCAR was on wet tyres when I made the lobby, or whenever I jumped in it, and I didn't think about the tyres again, and it wasn't. I don't know why it changed. I have no clue as to why it changed. Put me back onto racing tyres. Safe to say I wasn't doing very well, as you can see by the halfway mark, just over the halfway mark. Yeah, I was down in 14th, and the rest of the field was long gone. Couldn't get my car stopped. I do apologise to the person that I bumped there in the final corner. Couldn't get it stopped, couldn't get it turned very well. Now, I had turned the surface watered down, because I was going to hope that it was going to get wetter throughout the race, so it started at about 10% and is gradually creeping up, as you can see. And it was still a handful. With the car on racing tyres. Also, none of us have probably driven these cars in this condition on this track. I didn't say what tracks we were using, so it was completely random. Safe to say it is rather challenging. I also turned off all the assists, or forced all of the assists off, so yeah, nobody could cheat. That was pretty much it for the exciting stuff from Brands Hatch. That was all there was from my point of view on that race. I spent a lot of time rather lonely. The second race, though, was much more interesting. This is at the Silverstone International Circuit. This time, I have got my wet tyres on as we come to the first corner. There, you just cannot see a thing. There's a car out wide there struggling for a bit of control. Everybody is slipping and sliding all over the place, trying to find a bit of grip. There is a 2-car spin in front of me. Someone on the inside just can't get their car stopped. May well have just been completely locked up and not managed to get it slowed down in time. And I had managed to climb from 16th on the grid up to 9th. There's a little bit of a bump. It's just so hard to tell what's going on. Not only have you got all of the spray, you've got cars falling off the road, cars spinning out on their own. Yeah, it's just a challenge. Keep the thing on the road. Keep the thing in a straight line. This back straight was actually a very good test of who has the best throttle control coming onto it, so you can get a good run down the straight, and nobody knew where to brake. For this corner, I don't think there was a lot of guesswork going on in this. I like the challenge. I enjoyed the challenge of this. You spend so much time thinking about just what your car is doing. You got to try and balance your throttle, your steering. I can't pull my car up for the next chicane, may give the guy in front a little bit of a bump. Yeah, there is just so much to think about. Yeah, just simply trying to control your own car, let alone worrying about everybody else that's having their own issues all around you. It's absolutely mental. But good fun. I thoroughly enjoyed trying to keep this thing on the road, and after the first lap I had been making very good progress here. The car on the outside broke a little bit too late. I broke a bit too late as well, and ended up going a bit wide. I'm trying to see if there's space to come back on the track, and then I get things wrong and spin my car around. I was 5th when I crossed the line, and now I dropped all the way to 10th in the space of 2 corners, down to 11th now. Yeah, it's so easy. It's so easy just to make a little mistake, and you make that little mistake and everything all goes very wrong. Later round, I managed to make my way back up to 9th, had a big slide trying to get my car under control as we come onto the front straight. There's cars all around. I was kind of surprised actually how close the field remained. For the most part, like a few people dropped off the back of the field who had big accidents or big spins. On the most part though, the field actually kind of stayed fairly bunched up. You can see we're on lap 4 now, and everybody is fairly close. The leader, I think, is long gone. There's somebody facing the wrong way that I tried my best to avoid. I just couldn't get my car turned. And you can see in front there are more cars slipping and sliding. There's somebody off on the infield. Yeah, it's just a challenge keeping these cars on the road, let alone you worrying about people around you. I'm driving in cockpit view for this as well, so you have fairly restricted visibility. I was having a real tough time trying to see where vehicles were that were around me. Doesn't help that I was driving this on a steering wheel, and there's not really buttons for look around on there. Gran Turismo doesn't do the looking around bit particularly well, and yeah, it was very hard to tell if there was a car on your inside. So yeah, sort of accidents. I was kind of confused accident and incident into one word. Yeah, there were a few incidences of that kind of thing going on. The trick with this is just don't take it particularly seriously. You know, you're going to get bumped off, or there's going to be a car in front that spins, or you're going to make a mistake and spin your car, and just get back on the road and keep going, because the chances are it'll happen to somebody else. You can, like at the start of whatever, I think that section, I was down in sort of 10th, 11th, and I climbed back up to 4th in the course of a lap. That's the kind of thing that can happen with this. Of course, it can work the other way around. You know, if you make a mistake, you can lose quite a few places. And with the field incredibly close as we come towards the end of the second race, yeah, if you had one spin, as you see there, the leader got a spin on the final corner there. Surprisingly easy to do on that section, and he's now dropped from 1st to 6th. Just from that one spin, and could drop even further. There he goes, down back to 7th now. Yeah, one little mistake and you would go quite a long way down the order. But you never know when the people in front of you are going to make a mistake, because it is so easy just to overstep that fine little line. All the top three, we outbraked ourselves into that corner. I mean, I lost a position back down to 4th. I got so close. The car that was coming back on track just about managed to avoid him. I'm looking at the little red flashy indicator. I swear I never see them when I'm driving. I never notice them. Only when I'm looking at the recording do I notice them. Yeah, now I'm trying to sort of figure out where the cars are around me. There's somebody who's got a better run onto the straight, and he's going to have a look up the inside. Can't really do much about that anymore. He's there now. Can't really squeeze him to the inside anymore. As we all sort of try and break into this corner, I don't want to be on the outside. It's not a particularly good place to be on that outside. I get a bit sideways and get a bit of a bump from a car going past. There's just a massive pack of cars behind me. I'm a little bit cautious into this corner. I just couldn't see a thing. Had no clue where to brake. I was hoping, well, let's say I was trying to be a bit cautious, but with all the spray, I overshot my braking point. Thought I might lose another position. I think there was a car very close behind me. Behind that, there was a bit of an incident. I'm just looking at the map, trying to see what was going on. Yeah, it was absolutely chaos at Silverstone, but it was quite good fun. We move on to the final race. At Bathurst, of course, we're going to have a go at Bathurst. One of the tightest, one of the twistiest, one of the nastiest tracks on this game. The reason why this place is particularly challenging for these vehicles is if somebody has an incident, like for example at the start, there are walls very, very close to the track most parts of Bathurst. There are a couple of fairly open bits, but the start finish straight and all over the top of the mountain is just walled in either side. So if you make a mistake and you hit the wall, you end up having your car thrown back onto the road, back into the middle of the road. And yeah, that's something else to contend with as we run down the back straight. Now you can kind of see the problem that you were having if you were behind cars. I don't know where the corner is. I had no idea where the corner was and completely outbraked myself. So did some other people as well. I'm facing the wrong way in the middle of that's not where you want to be. At that kind of angle. Amazingly, everybody kind of got away with going past me. I was surprised I didn't have someone didn't plough into the front or side of me then. Somehow I got away with that. So I'd lost quite a bit of time in that. Yeah, I just wasn't cautious enough. I should have braked a lot earlier. In hindsight is a wonderful thing when it comes to this. But yeah, with the added difficulty, not only the cars but the lack of visibility as well, that made things interesting. As you can see with the walls here, you know, you make a mistake. That's what I say. I'm just sort of creating a roadblock inadvertently. You're not trying to. You just kind of end up in a rather bad place. We're trying to go too wide in the wet through one of the fastest, scariest corners on probably any racetrack around this top of the mountain. We got away without a big crash. I mean, I kind of ended up on the grass, sort of not really intentionally. That's just where I ended up with a little bit too much wheel spin. Luckily, I could kind of use the banner a little bit there as a guide as to when to put the brakes on for this downhill section. Still, very, very little. you could see out the front of your car. That is pretty much the only one advantage of having onboard footage of this, is you could see the just complete lack of visibility. Someone comes flying past me, and we might not quite get that on the replay cameras. But yeah, unfortunately, I can't show you any racing what's going on elsewhere. There was everybody was having issues with that corner by the looks of it, and then we're on to one of the few even vaguely wide bits of this track. It doesn't really get very wide until there's one chicane. I can't remember what it's called, the chase, and then the chicane at the end. That there's kind of wide. Through here, though, there's just nothing you can do. There is nothing you can do to avoid that. Like, I could see the little arrows on the mini-map were kind of slowing down, but I don't know what position on the road they are. I just kind of kept my foot down and hoped. Didn't work on that occasion, although I got away without any any major incident. Didn't get spun around, and I think the car I hit didn't get spun around either in that one. Yeah, I get past another car on that kind of thing. This final corner is horrible. I really am not a fan of this final corner. I can't drive it, it's more of a thing. I can never get the braking point right on that corner with a normal vehicle in normal circumstances, let alone like this. I was being very cautious into that corner, and other people were being a bit braver with that one, shall we say. A little bit further round, there was quite a lot of racing going on in this one, as with the Silverstone one. I don't know what happened at Brands Hatch further up. I presume there was sort of a big group of cars as well. I have no idea. But there's quite a lot of actual racing and actual overtaking. I'm trying to go side by side with somebody down the hill in... Yeah, I wasn't expecting there to be quite this much close racing. I was expecting there to be more I was expecting this to be more about not making mistakes, if you like. That's still a massive part of this. But yeah, I wasn't actually expecting to have sort of like a proper full-on battle, sort of normal style battle with another car. And that happened, I presume that happened with plenty of other people, and that happened with me in both these final two races. The first one, yeah, didn't go so well. And I'm kind of slipstreaming behind somebody. Don't really want to be getting particularly close. That wasn't the reason why I didn't want to be getting close. I still have no idea. I saw that so late. That incident, I guess someone just got too much wheel spin somewhere on the straight, or they may have got tapped by somebody else, got spun around. I saw the dots slowing down on the mini-map just in time to react and get away with that. But I didn't want to be so close behind anybody, just because you never quite know where they're going to brake, especially in these conditions when you can't really see very well. So I was going to leave a little bit more space to the car in front. It's a blooming good thing I did then, otherwise I would have been caught up in that accident. Yeah, somebody else has some trouble with that final corner. That caused, as you can see on the mini-map, caused all sorts of problems around there. Anyway, things kind of calmed down and not very much happened from then on. The guy that was in front of me had another spin, and I ended up in third, and it was just sort of a time trial for me, really. I was just going around trying not to spin. The cars in front were so far gone. I was surprised I managed to make my way all the way up to third from such an atrocious start. The car behind me was catching me for sort of the last couple of laps, really. And as we came towards the very end of the race, I was being quite cautious. I'm not the best at this, because there are people driving here that were far faster than me around the course of this track, around all of these tracks particularly. And yeah, I was being very cautious on this final lap. I just didn't want to have a stupid spin. I thought I had enough of a margin to the car behind to be very cautious on the brakes through here and be cautious on the power and everything. And I didn't have as comfortable a margin as I would have liked. As we come into the final corner, yeah, I was again being extra cautious on the brakes. Luckily the car behind me outbroke himself and had a little bit of trouble putting the power down, so I could take a third position for this race. Yeah, it was... I could not have done live commentary for these races. I just don't have... I couldn't concentrate on those two things at once, as these cars are so hard to keep on the road, and you got to worry about everybody around you. Yeah, it is a massive challenge. It really is a huge challenge trying to sort of do everything at once, keep those cars on the road with none of the assists on, and with other cars around doing their own thing and having their own incidences and trying to dodge them and everything. It was utter carnage. It was good fun. I enjoyed it. I like a challenge when it comes to racing games, and yeah, I thought it was it was interesting. It was something a bit different. You had to think an awful lot more in that race than I've ever had to do in other races. Just with everything going on all at once, especially that Silverstone round. That was pretty mental for many parts of that. Anyway, that is it for this video, guys. I apologise, it's a bit shorter. I planned for a sort of a much more versus the community style video. Unfortunately, as I said, all the replays have gone skew-if, and I don't know why. Luckily, the midget racing and the midget rallying, the Daihatsu midget, I should say, it's the car, honest. That is all those replays are worked. I don't know why it just screwed up for these three. But yeah, that is it for this video, guys. So thank you very much for watching, and until next time, goodbye.